All right, something cool here is with Wade from Doom's Children. How you doing, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Yourself?
Living, seeing what the next lockdown's going to be like. You know what I mean? So, congratulations on this new project, man. What made you want to get into this?
It's always exciting musically to try and push yourself in a different direction. And I was just a few years ago just kind of finding myself in a cozier zone musically. I was listening to like a lot more 60s stuff and I've always loved the kind of like 70s rock and roll shit, like the Allman Brothers, and just kind of, even though I've made a bunch of heavy records, I think my interest in guitar has always been like really blues based stuff. Like that's my favorite type of playing. And this was I had this kind of really personal collection of songs. I'd recorded or just written, just me on an acoustic guitar, and I thought it, lent itself just a lot more to try and keep it cozy.
I always think that, man. Like when a musician is known for a certain genre, but in their heart they know they want to try and branch out and do something. When they finally get that opportunity, it's always something real cool. And this project, from what I heard so far, has been amazing.
Thank you very much. And yeah, I mean, I think it's trying, like, allowing yourself to do different stuff musically, to make different records, to play with different people is always the thing that keeps it more interesting. So I think, by putting like this out and, getting to go play and like try and, even like I'm starting to put this together. I'm going to play some shows in December and even putting the band together, like trying to find like a pedal steel player and like getting a great like organ player and stuff is very, very different than, things I've done in the past. And I think ultimately it's probably when it circles back around again, and I've played a bunch of shows on this, I'm probably going to be even more excited about playing really heavy music again.
Right. For sure. Well, it's got to be different too. You're going to be playing for different crowds, different size venues. You know what I mean? And everything's fucking weird as far as playing shows goes. I mean, who knows you're in Canada, right?
Yeah, I'm in Canada. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the exact, I'm not allowed over there. So, I mean, our borders.
I'd say clusterfuck, just like everyone else.
It's nuts, man. I mean, I'm in New York here, and it's just been a wild ride. I mean, for a while, there was no shows whatsoever. And then there was a thing where you could buy food and you can go to a concert. So bands were selling fucking hot dogs instead of tickets to get into a venue, which was nuts for a while.
That's an interesting workaround.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I felt when I booked the first shows, like I'm playing Toronto and Montreal in December, and man, there was a first wave of bands really wanting to get back out there, and I was like, I'm just gonna pump the brakes and see how it goes. And because when I start playing again, I want it to be the actual thing we all want it to be. I want it to be a concert where everybody feels good about being there. It isn't fucking strange. It's like a celebration of music and life and the reason we all love this so much. And I thought December was going to be far enough away to do that, but
right,
it's getting closer and it's still pretty strange.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Fingers crossed, and we'll see.
When was the last time you actually played a show?
January of 2020.
Tell me, man, is that fucking crazy to you or what? I'm doing something that you do for a living and then being like, I haven't got on the road in fucking almost, a year and a half.
It is crazy to me because there's like one thing that I've consistently done since I was 16, and it's just like played shows constantly. And if there's like one thing in my life, I'd say that just, it doesn't feel effortless, but feels very natural, and and that's gone. Like I'm starting to like, I've got to start rehearsing like next month and stuff for the
Right.
gigs, and fucking I feel like I don't remember how to do it.
Well, you don't want to go out there and pull a Vince Neil, man. Do that first show and fucking.
No, I do not.
I mean, if people just think that you guys are musicians and it's just in you, you just jump up and do it. But if you haven't done it for a while, it's going to be fucking, it's a hard, I mean, do anything for 2 hours straight. And you tell me that, how easy it is. You know what I mean?
Even just from, like I haven't been nervous to play a show in a while. And I can tell every once in a while, like I feel a little bit maybe anxious before I play. And if anything, it's just this mild thing. And I go like, oh, this one's important. And that's kind of like a good feeling. But straight up, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like I'm nervous to play again.
Right. Well, you got to be nervous on all levels, not only from not playing for so long, but fuck, man. Every band out there that's going on tour is one member is getting COVID at least. So it's got to be fucking back of your head.
Yeah, especially, because I'm saying I got to fucking get a organ player and a pedal steel player and a percussion player. There's going to be like 9 of us. You know what I mean? I don't like my chances with that.
Yeah, that's nuts, man. I mean, depending on what the precautions are and who's allowed in the shows, you might have more people on stage than are allowed in a venue.
That's it. Yeah.
I always got a kick out of it when it first started, when they started doing the limitations. And they're like, you can do a quarter of the venue, you can do this or that. No one took account that it was part of the band, the fucking security, the crew, the bartenders. That's all part of that number that was allowed into a venue. So, I mean, it's not.
So you gotta weigh that out when you think, am I gonna carry this bass cabinet up a fire escape?
Right.
And how much are the security guards and the bar staff gonna enjoy this show?
Exactly. Now, with this new album here, man, I understand that half was written before you went to rehab and the other half was written during. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's strange to kind of reflect on now. But yeah, I was in a not the best place when I started working on these songs, and I feel like I was kind of working through the songs at the beginning to kind of as a bit of a way to survive. And music's always been the kind of like constant in my life, and I'm lucky I have something to put that kind of like that emotion and that energy into.
Right.
But when I was getting started, like kind of felt like everything was falling down around me. And I was this was like one thing I was holding on to. And then yeah, I went to treatment, and I don't know, had an acoustic guitar there, and like kind of kept working on things through there. And then I guess finished it up when I came out, and it's pretty wild. Like, I guess I haven't been kind of so open and personal lyrically in anything else I've released. And because all the projects I usually work on are like a very much like a collective of people's ideas. And not to say the music isn't personal, but this is like another step, like deeper for sure. And yeah, on one hand, it's like it's pretty heavy to like put myself out there like that, but I'm glad I did. And the songs, like, I don't know, I can feel it when I play them, and hopefully people get that when they hear them.
Now, when you're in control, man, that's got to be a completely different feeling. Like you said, you're in other bands, you did other things, but it's always been a collective. When you're your own person in there, it's got to be creatively, I mean, everything's got to be just different.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit more of a difficulty of in the past when I've been working on stuff specifically for myself, when everything comes down to what you want it to be, it can almost be a bit of a smothering thing, because you don't you can continue to change it. It can be anything essentially. And that can be a difficult place to land on. But with this, I had a very clear idea of what I wanted it to be. And the more the songs came together, I think found sonically and everything, everything really lined up. Yeah. Like as far as something that's, a solo record, I didn't want to call it Wade MacNeil because it sounds like I'm starting a fucking blues trio.
Right.
I'm not doing that. But yeah, it is essentially a solo record, but I think I tried to kind of build a little bit of a world around it. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way it all came out.
Now, I just listened to your newest single, Heavy Year, man, and that was a fucking great track.
Thanks, dude. It's cool to I don't know, yeah, be able, like I brought up the Allman Brothers earlier, but like just like touch on some kind of like guitar playing like that. And yeah, I don't know, like there's it's just even there's a lot of stuff like from music from that era that I think is really incredible, in that the songs can sound kind of like happy or uplifting, but like lyrically they're really really fucking serious. And I think a lot of like my favorite kind of 60s and 70s like psych and rock bands kind of tread in that territory. And yeah, there's a real like push and pull with that stuff, and that song's definitely got that. It's definitely just like iron heavy and lyrically, and then musically it's like fresh flowers.
Right. Now, your album comes out on the 20th. Are you planning on doing anything special, like a live stream or any shit like that?
I haven't watched a single live stream from a band in the last 2 years. And so I just don't feel like I can ask people to do it for me.
Right.
I'm happy people are doing them.
Uh,
It's good that people are trying to like remain creative and engaging with people, but no.
Yeah, man, I'm right there with you, dude. I mean, I get it. Bands are bored. They want to do something. They want to connect with fans and stuff like that. But watching somebody in the fucking closet or whatever they're doing, you know what I mean? It's never going to be the same as watching a real show.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's the best we got, but I feel like if I can't be watching them, I can't expect somebody else to. I think like maybe the best version of it is, I saw some bands announce gigs at like drive-in movie theaters.
Right.
Like, oh, that's a cool concept. And I thought, yeah, I'm still not going to one of those shows.
Yeah,
I'm just hoping. I'm hoping December will be cool when we start playing these shows, and then we can do it for real. Because that's what I actually miss. Like, I don't miss a like lackluster version of it or like an altered version of it. I miss playing and that connection with people, and that thing about what you just said about like there's something lost in translation of it, right? And so yeah, I want the real thing.
The only one that I did try to watch was when GWAR did that exclusive show, and it was like, I don't know if you ever seen GWAR in concert live.
Yeah, a lot of times, yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing, right? But watching them with nobody there, it's just like, what am I watching? Like, what the fuck is this?
One of the like first big shows in Toronto that Alexisonfire ever played was like opening for GWAR when we were just getting started.
Oh yeah.
And we were at the Opera House in Toronto, and it's a crazy thing. Like, so many of these like great big venues, like nice venues, the backstage is just the hugest disaster area ever. Like, it's the worst.
Right.
And I can say that like as a fucking backstage expert at this point in my life. Like, sometimes like the nicer the club, like the worse the fucking backstage is. And so we're at the Opera House, way bigger than any show the band has ever played. And there's like the fucking room this big that our fucking warm 12-pack of beer is in. And then there's like the GWAR dressing room, which also has the only washroom in the place in it. And we're just like, I guess we gotta go in there to fucking like I was like, I gotta take a piss before we play. And so like George knocks on the door and he's like, hey guys. And we're probably like, some of us are 18, a few of us are 17 at this point. It was really early days of the band. And then like we hear like Dave Brock Odoris's voice.
Right.
And he's like, what do you want from GWAR? And just like opens the door, and then he's just like, I'm just fucking with you. What's up, guys?
Right.
And it was just like, yeah, come on in. Like, but it was just like, before we even saw them, just like we heard the voice. And just like, are they just in their costumes? In there? Yeah, you open the door and it's just like a very fucking nice dude. But yeah, it was if anybody could pull it off, it would have been them.
Right. Well, it was different, that's for sure. So during this lockdown, man, what did you do to keep yourself busy?
One thing that is a little bit difficult as a touring musician that lives in a country where it snows a lot is finding the time to ride my motorcycle. Not a long season.
Right.
And then I can usually count on is like I'm away in the summer, like on tour, playing festivals and stuff like that. So it's you unfortunately don't get to ride that much. And so things like shut down, my tours got canceled 2 years ago. I was like, I'm buying a new Harley. And it's been a very great couple years of riding, like more so than I probably, like I've been riding bikes for probably about 10 years. And I feel like I've done it more in the last 2 years than I did in the previous 8.
Now, did you do any music writing? I mean, I know that Alexisonfire just announced you guys are playing a festival. Did you guys write any new music or anything like that?
Yeah, we're starting to like book some tours for next year. Like I don't know. I think we'll get back into that zone. Like it's definitely not we didn't start playing again to have it be some sort of nostalgia trip. And so like when we get around to that, like I'm not 100% sure, but there'll be more eventually.
Cool.
But in the meantime, we're definitely gonna like fucking hit the road hard next year.
Now, what's that like, man, when you guys are apart for quite a bit of time and when you guys finally start getting back together? I mean, you guys, who reaches out first, or is it something that you guys all been thinking about? Or
Yeah, a really weird thing that happens when you break up a band is people never stop offering you shows. So like we fucking broke up at like, I think we played right before New Year's or something like that. It was our last show outside of Toronto. And then I feel like a month later, we got an offer to do Coachella. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
So that shit keeps coming up and it's weird. And, like we hear about some of them from our booking agent or our old manager. And we say no for 5 to 6 years consistently.
Right.
How long it was before we played. And, we're all hanging out a lot. And we're at Riot Fest here in Toronto. And our guitar player Dal was headlining that year with his City and Color project. And we're all backstage, like we're all there. And I think he was like, why don't we play? Like, why don't we play? He's like, we'll just walk out, we'll play. Fucking blow everyone's goddamn minds. And then we're all just kind of like, we could.
Right.
And our bass player was like, no. I haven't played my bass in 6 years. Like, I'm not fucking this up. Which was the right thing to do. And then we actually got like a a show offer for Riot Fest for Alexis the next year, and we're like, well, we almost did it for free. So that's the kind of like way we kind of started back up. We did a few fests, and then fuck man, the shows have been better. They keep getting better. And it's really hard when I think you're in a band that's going. You can't take a step away and appreciate what it is. And you're just so focused on what's next, right? And that time away from the band, I think, made us all really appreciate what we accomplished, appreciate each other, and just miss it. And everything we go back and do, it feels a little bit better. And as I said, the shows keep getting bigger. It's a fucking trip, man.
That's awesome, man. Good for you. Now, one thing I gotta ask, dude, when you take a big gap like that and you go back on stage, and you look at the crowd and realize everyone's gotten older, does it fuck with your head?
It's everyone's gotten older and then also younger too, because it's like there's the people that came up with us,
Right.
And I guess they're like on their night out and they've got babysitters for their kids. That's where they're at now. And then, but in that time away, I think maybe the records aged okay, and there was a ton of people at the shows that had never seen us before, that were too young or like are now listening to heavier music. And yeah, so it's like on one hand, I'm sure there's like the people that were up front moshing and stage diving are now standing in the back having a beer casually. But that front section has been filled in with like younger kids that didn't get to see it for the first time. And it's cool, man. And I think about that. We're coming up to next year. Now, this time next year will be like the 20th anniversary of our first record coming out, which is a fucking trip. And
Gotta be, right?
yeah, it is. And it's certainly something I don't think we ever thought we would continue doing or still be playing those songs. But you're wearing a Slayer shirt or even just, I think about, I probably started, I'm 37. I probably started listening to Motorhead and going to Motorhead shows after they'd been touring and playing in a band for like more than 25 years. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
And then newer generations of people find music and they like find it and fall in love with it. And too, like similarly with Slayer, like when I started listening to that band and, going to see them regularly, like I feel like those kind of happen in a similar time frame of me going to like Motorhead gigs or going to Slayer gigs. Like I would go see them every time they came through for probably about a 10-year span. But like both those bands had like maybe almost been playing for 30 years at that point. And there's like these new generations of people finding them, and that's fucking awesome. And mind you, at both those shows, there's like, there's all the like old heads that were there for the first time that are like still coming out and stuff. But there's like, new people find it, and that's really fucking cool. And I think I'm starting to see like a little bit of that with my own music projects.
So now next year, with it being the 20th anniversary, and you guys are saying you're doing a lot of shows, are you gonna do anything specific for the 20th anniversary tour or anything like that?
I hate that shit when people go out and play the record front to back.
Right.
So nothing with that. But I'm sure we'll try and do something special around it, It is something special. But that being said, it was also a record we wrote when we were like 17. And some of those ideas and those musical concepts like became the foundation of what the band is and became. And we went further into those ideas. And some of them were, things that we didn't touch on that, like we were into when we started. And so I'd say like that would be more the case for not playing like all of the old songs, like playing the first record front to back, because some of it just doesn't feel like us.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's got to be interesting, man. I mean, you're only 37 and having their 20th anniversary. You're like one of those kids in high school who had their baby their senior year.
For sure, man. Like it is a bit like, I mean, it's honestly really cool
For
that
sure.
we've been able to do it so much. But yeah, I mean, I guess I would be ready. My kids are going off to college right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is the zone I'm in. So you know, you pack up your kid's room and you put a pool table in there, or maybe like a sex swing. So that's the era of the band I'm entering into.
Now you do a lot of side stuff, man. How'd you get involved with video games?
Uh, you know, all the stuff that I've done in kind of all my music career has been these kind of just like, I've met someone and had a show, they liked what we do, and we've just like talked a little bit more. So I think it would have been the first film that I worked on. I worked on music for this hockey film Goon.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason Eisner, who was editing the film, who's a director, who I went to work on Dark Side of the Ring with, that documentary series. We were talking about doing some music, and he shared some tunes I'd done for him with the creative director of Ubisoft, who they'd worked together on like a video game project. And met the guy, and you know, he like loves hardcore and wrestling, and have some mutual friends, and started talking about music. And yeah, I got brought on to do a lot of music for Far Cry 6, 5, 5, Far Cry 5. Yeah, it was really interesting. I think the people that are in charge of music in the kind of like realm of video games are probably some of the most intelligent and creative people I've met. And it was like a real pleasure working on. You know, if the fucking song, if I'm working on like a film and the song doesn't work, the director or the producer, like I get some sort of note where it's like, yeah, like it's not working, and like, you know, could the just, like I get a note that's the vaguest thing in the history of time that's talking about vibes and nothing that makes any sense. And I have to really pick apart what I think they mean. And then working on the video game stuff, the note would be like, all right, well, we just talked to the creative director in Japan, and he wants you to open up the oscillator on the synth arpeggio at bar 36, and maybe put it into a higher register on the keyboard because it's clashing with the voiceover. I'm like, we can do that.
Now, man, you're living every kid's dream, dude. Not only you're a rock star, you're working on video games, you're working on wrestling shows and movies and shit, man. That's got to be a pretty cool life.
It's cool, man. It's just it's kind of touching back on some of the stuff I said earlier about, you know, getting to work in a different way and create different kind of music. It always like makes the next thing I'm working on like a little bit more interesting, you know, because I get to switch up gears and also like I learn something from every project I work on, you know, like I'm sure there's a ton of stuff I learned, you know, there's a ton of stuff I learned about synths working on like the video game stuff that I brought over to the film and TV stuff. And then in looking at that in terms of like sound design for film, like bring that over to the songs I'm writing and the records I'm working on, and everything kind of informs the next project, and you know, keeps it interesting for me, and yeah, I think allows me to continually kind of step out of my comfort zone and learn and try new things.
Now, with this album coming out on the 20th, is there like vinyl? Is there CD? I mean, they even make
there's vinyl that's like the pre-sales up now. It's coming out on Dino One Records. We went fucking ape shit on all the vinyl. And so it's like a very nice, like pink, blue, black splatter that we did for that. So yeah, like you can pre-order that now from Dino One Records. I don't think there's going to be CDs. I think there's just there's like a huge pile of CDs from my other bands at the record label that people don't buy anymore. So I don't think we're making CDs. But yeah, it's like it's available on all streaming services. And but if you actually want to like you know, support the project and like the musicians that made it and that I had play on the record, like yeah, pick up the record or pick up a shirt.
Tell me how fucking crazy that is, man. I mean, you know, not making CDs and stuff anymore. I mean, when you were a kid, man, that was my favorite thing, was going to the record store and going and finding something new. And I don't care if I liked one song, I'll pick up the CD, you know what I mean? Now it's just like these kids just push a button to get this fucking music.
It's strange, man. Like, and even just the fact that, you know, I mean, it's cool. Like I've always liked records and stuff, but I know when we started Alexis, none of our labels would press vinyl. Like we convinced our German label to do it, and they did like 100 of each of the records. And now it's like something that like all the labels do. And yeah, everything's always changing, some for the best, some for the worst, you know?
Well, I mean, just in general, I mean, my kid's 10 years old and someone asked him what was the first album he bought. And he was so shocked that you had to pay for music. He's like, what do you mean? You bought an album back in the day? He goes, he goes, I got Alexa. He goes, I just say, Alexa, play this. And the song comes up for free.
That's one of the bummer parts of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's pretty crazy that like, yeah, I don't know. Everyone loves music. Music is so important to so many people. But yeah, I mean, it's been devalued to a point of, yeah, if you're under a certain age, like you would not even consider the idea of paying for it. And yeah, that's fucked.
Fucking A, man. Especially, you know, on your standpoint, this is how you make a living. I mean, I understood that selling a T-shirt is like equivalent to over 7,000 streams. You know,
Probably fucking, yeah. I mean, it's probably a really disappointing figure. Yeah, I saw one of my friends' bands from the UK shared something. Some kid that like really loves their you know, the Spotify wrap ups at the end of the year. It's like, this is your most listened to band and your most listened to song, and some kid that like really loves their band like did all the math on this, and he their single that they put out that year, he listened to more than anything else. So it's like, you know, you get this infographic that tells you like, this is your most listened to song. You're the like in the top, you know, percentage of people that listen to this band in the world. And he did the math on it, and he calculated that the last time he saw them play a concert, he bought like a rubber bracelet,
right?
Like one of those cheap rubber bracelets with the band's name like stamped into it. And him listening to their song like almost every day, more than any other piece of music through streaming services, made the band less money than him buying their cheapest merchandise item like at their show.
Fucking nuts, man.
Yeah, it's nuts. But I don't know, like it's where we're at, and it is what it is.
Now, people that are watching this, they want to follow up. They want to get the album. They want to buy a shirt. They want to actually buy the album. They want to hear it. Where do they go? Where do they do for everything?
You can pick up the record from Dino One Records. You can follow me on Instagram at Wade MacNeil. That's where I guess like I'd spend most of my time. Every time I open up Twitter these days, I think I just don't want to I don't need to argue with anybody today, and then I close Twitter down. Yeah, I'd say like probably like Instagram is probably the best spot to kind of like keep up to date with what the band is doing. And then you know, fingers crossed, we're gonna be on the road soon.
Awesome, man. Great. It was a pleasure talking to you. I love this new stuff. I can't wait to hear the actual full album, and hopefully I'll catch you sometime on the road.
Sounds good, man. Great chatting with you.
You too. Take care.